Not one of your words is turned back to its origin unfulfilled. For you are God, trustworthy King. Blessed are you, Hashem, the God who is trustworthy in all his words. Amen. Have mercy on Zion, for it is the source of our life. To the one who is deeply humiliated, bring salvation speedily in our days. Blessed are you, Hashem, who gladdens Zion through her children. Amen. Gladden us, Hashem, our God, with Elijah the prophet, your servant, and with the kingdom of the house of David, your anointed. May he come speedily and cause our heart to exalt. On his throne let no stranger sit, nor let others continue to inherit his honor. By your holy name we swore to him that his lamp will not be extinguished forever and ever. Blessed are you, Hashem, shield of David. Amen. For the Torah reading, for the prayer service, for the reading from the prophets, and for this Shabbat day that you, Hashem, our God, have given us, for holiness and contentment, for glory and splendor, for all this, Hashem, our God, we gratefully thank you and bless you. May your name be blessed by the mouth of all the living, always, for all eternity. Blessed are you, Hashem, who sanctifies the Shabbat. Amen.
God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I want to thank you for waking me up in the right state of mind, getting me out here. Now I would like to give you some praise and start singing a song to you. Hashem smiled on me. He has set me free. Hashem smiled on me. He's been good to me. Yes, he has. Hashem smiled on me. He has set me free. Hashem smiled on me. He's been good to me. Yes, he has. Everybody. Hashem smiled on me. He has set me free. Come on, y'all. I heard you sounding good. Hashem smiled on me. He's been good to me. He's been good to everybody. Come on, I want to hear your voice. Hashem smiled on me. He has set me free. Have you set us free? Hashem smiled on me. He's been good to me. Come on, y'all. I want to hear y'all. Not hearing you. Hashem smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah, I hear you sounding good. Hashem smiled on me. He's been good. He's been good. He's been good. He's been good to me. Thank you. That sounds good. Finally.
Amen.
And our home has been good to me. He's been good to all of us. Because if you can come to the house of the Lord and praise Him, we got something to be thankful for. You hear what I said? And I'm not going to stand here when I tell somebody they've been praising ourselves and don't say nothing. Because God has been good to me. He's been good to all of us. If we don't, we just have to praise Him and thank Him because God loves to be praised. As long as I have health and strength in my body, I'm going to stand up and praise ourselves because He's the one that waked me up this morning. He started me on my way. And I want to praise Him and thank Him for another day. You hear what I say? So when I get to talk about it, I get happy because He's, oh, hallelujah, He's a good God. You hear what I say? That He loves to be praised. And the only way we can praise Him is thank Him and praise Him. And I just want to leave it in your hands as we keep praying. Keep praying for ourselves to bless us and keep us. That we would have a place to come and praise this day. Oh, hallelujah! Just pray for me, pray for all of us. That we may continue to do everything you have for us to do. I thank you and I praise you.
Yes, God is good. And we're going to ask Eva Walker, Eva Leah.
Thank God for being alive this morning. I am grateful. I'm not complaining. I just talk to y'all like I'm talking to my father. My real father. People see it. The words I'm saying to him, the words I say to him, is what I would say to the Most High. And I'm grateful. And I'm thankful. I'm not complaining because I came a long, long way. Going to do the eighth lesson is a supplication for the health and healing of the mind, soul, and body, and the spirits that are surrounding us. Referendo Adonai Benevate. Hoshiano Benevate. He telatana hada. Bahaya labor for Shalomo, the former Matana. He Almelek. Rope ni iman man Baruch atayadonai. Baruch atayadonai. Baruch atayadonai. Rope kole. Oh no, it's right. Heal us, Hashem. Heal us, Hashem. Then we will be healed. Save us, then we will be saved. For you are our praise. You are our everything. Pray complete recovery for all of our ailments, the mind, the soul, the body, and the spirits that are surrounding us. For you are our God, our Father, our King, the faithful and compassionate, and you are compassionate, the real healer, not a faithful person, the real healer. Blessed are you, Hashem. Blessed are you, Hashem, who heals the sick of your people and your children. Yes, I tell. From our lips to your ears, please hear your children's pleas. We greatly thank you. Greatly thank you for the last breath. Thank you, Hashem. And if you don't know how to talk to God, you pass in the bathroom anywhere, sit down in the corner and talk to the people.
And thank you for that, Brett. Anyone else? Okay, we have the prayer for the sick. First, as is customary, we pray for the males first, and then we'll pray for the females afterwards. Mishaberak Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, Hu Yivarek, Irafe and Hakole. Oriab and Reuben, Harry Walker, Jacob, Jason, Daniel McGlynn, Savior McGlynn, Lawrence Jacob Walker, Rabbi Eliyahu Yehuda, Rabbi Ezekiel Levy, Ike Bird, Donald Richardson, Willis Kennedy, Juan Reyes, Jaden Vega, Jamie Fox, Irving Ward, David Shell, Lou Lloyd, Donna Harrington, and Alvin Hagwood, and Pert family. Amen.
Emmanuel Robinson,
Amen.
Rand Robinson,
Amen.
Gregory Blackman,
Amen.
all the men that need prayer.
Amen. She'amuna yitelis naga ba'avuro, vizkarate apodoru, yivale rakamim alai, le'akalivo urafotu lakaziko, ulakayoto, ve'yishlak lo behera refuah shelma, ve'ashemaim, v'dag v'toshapole Yisrael, refuah hadefesh, ufra hagu, Shabbat himelis o, Uforo karabo lavo, Hashabagala bismakaribe imru. Amen. Visheperaga poteru Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Moshe Aaron Davidu Shlomo, Hu yivarek rafe et hakolah. Sheila Simpson, Jovita Richardson, Darren Elijah Thurston, Carol Blakely, Ella Yulee, Gina Hardy, Marion Gaynor, Rabbi Deborah Levy, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Emalia Walker, Ema Ruth Green, Ema Pat Cachet, Rabbi Tamar Lemoyne, Yehudit Holder, Nasika Levy, Shakita Levy, Denise Brown, Nikita Paulson, Mendel Brown, Anna Reyes, Leona Draper, Deshaya Anderson, Janet, Miss Jeanette, Amen.
Pearl Blackman, Denise Hicks, Nasso,
Amen.
all the ladies that need prayer.
There's more females. Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Violet Lee,
Amen.
Monica Velasquez, and Keela Porter. Amen. Amen. Ba'avu she'amemuna, Yitenis daka ba'avura, Vizkaze akadosh baruch hu, Yimale rachamim aleha, Le'achalima urafota urkazika, urakayota, Ve'yishlach la mehera refuah shelma, Min hashemayim, Leko avareha, Uko gideha, Ve'toshah kol Yisrael, Refuah hanefesh, Ufra haguf, Shabbat o Ufora Karavo, Lavo, Ashtabagala Bismagaribe Muru. Amen. Continuing on page 428.
Please stand.
Yea, hallelujah, Shemadai Kis Gashabule Vado. Let them praise the name of Hashem, for his name alone will have been exalted. Reign to Hashem, the Son the powerful. Reign to Hashem, honor and might. Reign to Hashem, the honor worthy of his name. Prostrate yourselves before Hashem is an intensely holy place. The voice of Hashem is upon the waters. The God of glory thunders. Hashem, vast waters. The voice of Hashem is in power. The voice of Hashem is in majesty. The voice of Hashem praises cedars. Hashem shatters the cedars of Lebanon. He makes them praise about like a calf. Lebanon to you like young rain. The voice of Hashem calls the shafts of fire. The voice of Hashem commands the wilderness. Hashem commands the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Hashem fights the pines and strews the forest bare. When his temple all proclaim glory. Hashem at the throne at the deluge. Hashem to the throne that sing forever. Hashem give might to his people. Hashem will bless his people with peace. page 431, sometimes the page. And when you rested, you would say, reside, strengthen Joshua, among the mighty stars of Israel. Arise, Hashem, to your resting place, in the ark of your strength. Let your priests be clothed in righteousness, your divine ones with thee joyously, for the sake of David your servant. So that I reign the prince of your anointing, for I have given you good teaching. Do not forsake my Torah. It is the tree of life to those who grasp it, and supports our praiseworthy. His ways are ways of cleanliness, and all his paths are peace. Bring us back to you, Hashem, and we shall return, and renew our days as of old. Shuva, Lemona, O Lord our God, God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we thank you once again for all that thou hast done for us. We thank you for waking us up this morning and enabling us to come out to the house of the Lord where we could call on your name. And we ask permission to call upon you, for we know that thou art the creator of all. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to be here. We thank you for all the good health, the peace, the prosperity, love, harmony, and unity, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom that it has given us. We thank you for all our families, for our loved ones. We thank you for the jobs that has given us. We thank you for enabling us to be able to earn a living and to live in this world. We thank you for the freedom that has given us. We thank you for so many things. We don't have enough ways to express it, but thou knowest. We appreciate all that you do for us. We ask you to look down from heaven, that dwelling place, and have mercy upon us. We ask you to straighten us where we are weak and build us up where we are torn down. We ask you to send a special blessing to those who are in need of prayer. We ask you to send a special blessing to those who have lost loved ones. We ask you to send a blessing to those that need healing. Please, Lord, heal them and they shall be healed. Save them and they shall be saved. Bind and rebuke the powers of evil. Beat back darkness, ignorance, and superstition. Let them no longer enslave our minds or blind our eyes, but let the light of thy countenance shine forth upon the house of Israel, so that the world may know and see that there's a God in Israel, a God whom we live, move, and have our being. Rapha Malenu Adonai, have mercy upon us. Be thou strength and shield forevermore. Help us walk in the path of righteousness. Help us be numbered among the righteous. These and all the blessings we ask in thy great, high, holy, and exalted name. Adonai Zebaoth Imru. Amen, amen, amen. Oh, say shalom, everyone. Uya say shalom aleinu. For Israel. Imru. Amen. Back in the house of the Lord, back to back. Amen. We were here yesterday and we had the Spirit. We felt the Spirit in the house. And we thank the Creator for giving us that. And that's why we've been praying for and counting up to the 50 days. Right? We counted for 49 days. And on the 50th day, we came out and the Spirit was high. And I felt it. I'm not the only one. Thank God. So and here we are again back on this Shabbat, and we thank the Creator for giving us that peace of mind. A lot of people don't have that today, and we are thankful and we appreciate that. So we're going to bring the choir to sing for us, and
One and only.
Take us up a little higher. All right. We have with us Ivan. Good to see you. Have a visit with us. Shalom, shalom. All right, shalom. Of course, we're happy to see everyone. That's making a note for Ivan because I haven't seen him in a while. Thank you for the song. So that was Hold Me Up. So at this time, I want to first and foremost give thanks to the Creator, honor and respect for the Creator ruler of the universe. And I want to say shalom, honor to Ima, to the elders, the members of Friends, and to our guests, and those who are watching online. Also say Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
So this week we read Nasso. We read in Nasso. And this is the second book in Bamidbar. Last week we read Bamidbar. And it talked about the census. They took the census for all the people, tribe by tribe. And this week is a continuation of last week. So last week we saw they took the census of the Israelites, and also they made a separation between the Levites, and they broke them down into groups. They had at least 4 groups. They had the Merarites, the Gershonites, the Kohatites, and the sons of Aaron. And each group had specific duties and responsibilities. And last week also dealt with the formation of the camp and the order which they would travel. And this week's Sefer continues with the numbering of the Levitical families. So as you see, we read about Gershon, right? The Gershonites. And that's who that was the last part of the census, which would be Gershonites. And also it dealt with a series of other issues, or topics, I should say. And one of them was the removal of unclean people from the camp. Then it dealt with jealousy, the law of the Nazarites, the priestly blessing, and the offerings of the princes. So it's a lot. Matter of fact, there's 4 chapters this week, and one of them had 89 lines. So you know that's a long chapter. So obviously I'm not going to read it all, but I'm going to touch on some of those topics, and perhaps we'll get something out of it. And so when we read and study the Sidra, or any Sidra, we're supposed to get some understanding out of it. And we're supposed to get closer to the Most High God. And we're supposed to get inspired and motivated to do that, which is right according to God's law, statutes, and judgments. But when we read this section, we kind of feel disconnected with it because it's talking about a different time. But if you look into the heart of the matter, you'll see those are principles. So it's not necessarily that particular situation. We don't have to reenact the situation, but we should be able to extract the principles, or at least a message that the Creator is trying to give to us so that we can apply it. Because everything in this book is for our benefit. God gave it to us so that we could live by it. He said those who do it will live in it. So as we're reading this, it could be a little challenging navigating through it. But let's try to see if we can get something out of it. So the taking of the census teaches us that we have to take inventory of what we're working with in order to establish a community to serve God righteousness, right? So you gotta know who your people are, and obviously you gotta know who you can count on and who you can't count on. And so it helps you take inventory. And the thing is, you want righteous people, because that's what God wanted in this midst. And when you are moving with the large groups of numbers, you have to be organized. There has to be order. There has to be procedures, and there has to be a chain of command. And there has to be a line of communication. And you have to have a plan of action. You don't just go and wing it, right? You can't go in there without a plan and expect to figure it out when you get there. And that's what God is showing us. First, you got to organize. And I know that's what some of the people here are doing. We're learning from this, and we're organizing to move forward. And that's to be commended, because you don't want to just be hanging out. You got to do something, and I think that's just great. And so there needs to be a structure so that we can move in unison. And everybody has to be counted, and everybody has to be accountable. Everybody has a job. Everybody can't be the quarterback. You can't have a team full of quarterbacks, right? Or chiefs, right? That's why the saying goes, you got old chiefs and no Indians. So that's what this is showing us. There is an order on how you move with an organization, with people, with a nation, or even a family. There needs to be a structure, orderly. And so everybody is important. Just because somebody has a bigger job than the next doesn't mean that one is more important than the other. They all are important. And I think that's one of the lessons we can draw from this Israel. Of course, we still have to establish a personal relationship with Yah, but yet at the same time, you have to establish a relationship with the group. And the group depends on us, and we depend on the group. So that's what one of the lessons. Obviously, there's other lessons you can draw from that, but I think that is almost it's almost self-evident, but some people might miss it, just in case. Also, it goes into right, we talked about the Levites had different assignments, and so just because they were Levites, so each one had different functions. Not everybody got to get to the Holy of Holies. It was just the select elite, what they considered the elite, but they had to be the Aaron's sons, and the others had their duties. And so they said that all the Levites that were numbered to do the work of service and the work of bearing the burdens were 8,580. Sounds like a lot, right?
Yes.
But then don't forget, you're talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. So you got to put things in perspective. And the thing is, you needed that many just to do the service, and also as we move into the land, you had to have Levites, spread out. All the Levites weren't just concentrated in one place, although there was a main place where people came to. But what about during the rest of the year? You had to go somewhere. It's like for us here, right? We go to our local synagogue, so you had to have access to the local priest as well. So, and then they also talk about putting the lepers out of the camp, and say all that had an issue, and those that were unclean by the dead, that were defiled, they had to be put outside the camp. So obviously the lepers were people who had contagious diseases, and of course that applies today. So we may not be talking about lepers, we might be talking about COVID. So that's what I'm saying. These are the same principles It doesn't have to be that particular issue, but you can see that when somebody has a contagious disease, you put them out. Also, he talks about if you had an issue. Now, this one I could take it two ways. One, it could be a physical issue, something that's oozing out of you, or you might have issues. You know what I mean? So you got issues in the camp. That issues needs to be put out the camp as well, because it's going to contaminate the camp. So issues, whether physical or not literal or figurative or mental, because people have mental issues, right? So what do? When you have someone who has a serious mental issue that's a danger to the camp, what do? You should throw them out. And that's what society seems to have a problem with. They keep recycling people's mental issues with the population. And it creates more harm in the bigger scheme of things. They need to be dealt with. I'm not saying that shoot them. I didn't say line them up and shoot them, but they need to be addressed with, and they need to be separated. This is what at least one you can draw from this if you look at it from that perspective. Other people might look at it different. So also, if you're unclean by the dead, you should be put out of the camp. And of course, we know that this is at the time when the Creator was dwelling amongst us, or at least the Spirit did. And so people, he didn't want any type of contamination. So people who were unclean by the dead also had to be separated. So this was more of a spiritual thing, because if you come here and you're unclean by the dead, you look just like anybody else, and you're not going to give anybody a disease physically. But here, according to this, what we can draw from it is that there is a spiritual uncleanliness about it. And so that is the understanding. And that's why, in order to be holy, you have to be careful what you come in contact with. And that's why the priests, the high priests, they didn't circulate among the average person. Because the service that they did required for them to be in such a state of purity that you couldn't afford to come in contact. Like when you leave your house, if you take public transportation, you don't know what you're sitting on. You don't know who you're bumping into, right? You don't know what's being transferred to you, what kind of energy that you don't even see. So again, that's why, separation. And of course, you have separation for, thoughts and people talking, nonsense, and that gets into your mind, and that kind of interferes with your thoughts. So you want to also separate from that. So the other thing that it talked about, if a woman was unfaithful and her husband suspects that she may have been unfaithful and he was jealous, there was a procedure to deal with that. It's not what you see today. People go out and get a baseball bat. They still do it. They get a gun or a baseball bat, or they just do all kinds of stuff, right? So here, there was a procedure where you had to go to the priest, and then the priest also had some kind of concoction that he made up and made you drink, and the woman, not the man. The man was exempt. Either way, the man is exempt. I know some people are turning over in this chair. Not fair, not fair. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street, right? Well, not in my book. Well, don't blame me. I'm just reading. But actually, it is a two-way street. In reality, you can't convince anybody it's not. But it only dealt with that. So you went through a procedure, and I know today a lot of men would say, I want some of that so I can give it, because you can never tell whether somebody is lying or not, especially when you're jealous, right? You don't believe anything. So here they needed some kind of proof, and I guess at that time it worked. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't speak on it. I'm just reading what it says. So perhaps it was something that worked on your mind. And when you're guilty, right? When you're guilty, the telltale signs come out, right? Isn't that how sometimes people can tell to a certain extent? How you shift your eyes, how you twitch, how you overlook somebody. So there's different things, but there's really no solid proof unless the person confesses. And that was the whole purpose with this. So after they had to confess and they would admit, right? Because they felt all the pressure on them. So anyway, that was interesting to see how they dealt with issues. But so today, how that, I guess the more civilized way of doing it is to have counseling, right? You go to professionals or you go to an elder and try to work it out. But there needs to be some kind of communication to try to resolve it, because if there's not, what happens is we've seen it over and over, men will become so enraged and do something crazy, and people will get hurt. Like that. So, yeah, we might laugh a little bit about it, but this is a serious issue, because there are people who are very insecure, and there are women and men that are unfaithful. So when the situation gets to that point, you got issues that needs to be resolved. So what it's saying here, don't resolve it with violence. That is one way, because then talk about none of that, right? So you got to go to the proper channels to try to resolve that. So the other thing is they talk about the Nazarite vows. So everybody heard of Nazarites, right? And what is the common thing about the Nazarites? What can they not drink or eat? No wine, no grapes. I think strong drink is probably would be a no-no as well. But it says specifically wine and old wine, new wine. They were clear. No wine.
No grapes either.
No grapes. Right. And also, what else they could not do? They could not shave their hair. They had to let it grow. No unclean animals. Unclean animals, that goes for everybody, whether you're a Nazarite or not. So the other thing, if their mother or father died, you could not come in contact with them, because if you did, you would become unclean, and then you would have to restart your Nazarite process, because usually that was a vow you made. And it says, and there's a commentary that says, a minimum of 30 days was the vow for. But you could take it for years. Like Samson, what we read, what Raquel read today, was about Samson, right? But he was a Nazarite for life. But other people can voluntarily become a Nazarite because you want to do a little extra. It is not mandatory for anybody to take that vow. It was something that if you felt you wanted to do, or whether God did something for you special and you wanted to dedicate yourself to that, you can, but not mandatory. So today, based on what we read, if you read it, can we be a Nazarite as prescribed in the book?
Yes.
Not as prescribed in the book. I'll tell you why. Because when you finish your Nazarite period, you're supposed to go to the priest. And there was a ritual that was done. I didn't get into the details, but you had to go to and you had to bring an offering. You brought an offering to the priest, and the priest would take it. Also, they would take your hair and they would put it, in the fire and all that. So you could still become a Nazarite, but it wouldn't be like it's written in the book, because we don't have the Kohanim, that infrastructure. but it doesn't mean that you can't still dedicate yourself, to the Creator. But it just wouldn't be. So there's a lot of things we have to modify today, right? Because we don't have the same thing. So that's why now we have rabbis and mores and different things, but they represent the Kohen. But as we saw there, the Kohen, the Levites, were broken down, and those were from the tribes of Levi and from Aaron, the sons of Aaron. And now, any tribe can be a rabbi. Back then, you had to be of that lineage. So, we're making certain adjustments in order to survive. Because if we did not make these adjustments, we would just give up. Say, well, we don't have this, we don't have that, therefore, what's the use? But we look at it differently. We say, we may not have everything that's required, but we're going to do as close as possible to keeping with the spirit of the law as opposed to the letter of the law. I think everybody understands that, right? Everybody is good with that. So that was the one thing about Nazarites, because we know that there are people in Jamaica that call themselves Nazarites, and I'm not very into details with how to do, but I also see they have the locks, and they don't cut their hair, and they don't drink wine. So, and a lot of people read the Old Testament. It's not just the Israelites. Old Testament, Torah. Yes, you're right. It's Torah. A lot of people call it as the Old Testament because they call it Old and New. But it's right. It's a misnomer when you say old. Usually, at least in this society, when you say something old, it's like, it's obsolete, right? But that's just a term. But I don't mean literally as old as no good, but more as. I'm not even going to say the original, because there were other books and things about God before the Torah. But this Torah that was given to Israel, at least to Moses, through Moses' hand, that was the original Torah that was given. So, also one thing we saw, we didn't get to read that portion, but you know how we make the Misha Barak, the priestly blessing? That came from the Torah, and it's in the 6th chapter, 22nd verse, 27th verse, and it was pronounced by Aaron's son. And of course, the Lord bless you and protect you. Ishmereka can be translated as to protect you or watch over you. So we say, so that's why we're asking God to watch over us, to protect us. That's powerful when the Creator is watching. And this was not a verse that was made up by man. This is what God told Moses to. He said, put my name upon the people, and I will bless them.
That's very important. Put my name.
Yes.
Not Hashem. My name.
I think you should read it. So everybody can understand it.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. We're going to do that. Go ahead tomorrow. What did you say?
When we grew up in the Torah, you had pointed out to us to give a record prayer.
Right.
And I noticed the difference in how it was written out. Didn't show us, it showed us.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you read the Torah, there are certain passages that have a different structure than all the others. And those are clues to know where you are. When you see me going here and here, I'm looking for certain clues. Because there's no chapter names, no verses, no commas, no periods. So I said, thank God for allowing me to see it. Because I remember there was a time I get up there, I'm blind, I can't see nothing. Because it's hard to see, but as you do it over the years, you become familiar with it, you know what to look for. And of course, it helps to be able to understand what you're reading, because a lot of times some of the paragraphs start with the same way. You know, just like in English, you see the same words being used over and over. So how do you know you're in the right place? That's a trick I'll share with you some other time. But actually, it does help for you to know the subject matter, know where you are, and then that's how you can find. But at the same time, like I said, you need the creator to be with your brain and your mind to be able to see it, because it's not that, that easy. And those of you who've been, go out there, you see how it is.
It's pronounced, but I think that after I read it and I was studying it, I had a better understanding of the power of the words. Because like you must say, read it, because when you just don't, you skip over it, you miss something. So it's good that you could read it from the text.
So the Lord bless you and keep you. What Obadiah is saying is we should pronounce the name. Right? And I agree with you.
My book it says Nehashon.
I know, but what he's saying is, read it in the Hebrew, you would say Jehovah. That's what you said.
We never do so.
And,
But that's not what this says.
right. So that's
We say Adonai.
right. I understand what he's saying. He's saying that's not. Go ahead.
But you didn't
I'm going to read it. Hold on. I'm going to read it. Go ahead.
We have to understand that in Exodus, it says don't use the Lord's name in vain.
Right.
This is why we use the word Hashem, meaning the name. That's what Hashem says.
Right.
Hashem
Right.
in English means the name.
But in vain means how you use it.
Yeah.
If you're using it in prayer,
Yeah.
in a setting where you're not joking around and talking about
It's so
frivolous
it's up
things,
there. I know. But I'm just saying this is why
that would be appropriate.
we don't.
But you can't pronounce his name is what they're saying. When you say that name, they say that it's so holy that you can't even pronounce it correctly.
Who
And
is
that's
that?
what the rabbis have been taught. And what I read,
Right.
they said that the studies of God's name, to use it not in vain, but to use it for for your praying. And
Right.
everything
So
else.
the question is, when do we use it?
But
If we never say it, when are we going to use it? When are we going to be able to say we put the name on the Creator, right? But at the same time, are we for sure that's the correct name? That's the correct pronunciation. We don't know that for sure. Right. So the thing is, we would use the one that we think is the closest one, because everything we do, we don't know for sure, because we're not doing 100%, right? But at the same time, we do need to be very careful what we say and how we do it. So it's as you can see, it's a little controversial subject. So I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I'm being real with you, and you understand what I'm saying, right? So are we good? Oh, okay. Well, at the end, I'm going to make the Yuvareka anyway, but all right. So it says, the Lord bless you and protect you, right? And so the next one is, the Lord shine his face upon you and be gracious unto you. Shining face upon you can mean to provide light and intelligence in your path, and to make things clear for you. And be gracious unto you means to be forgiving and merciful, because we need mercy, we need that. So that's a good blessing to put on somebody. And the Lord lift up his face towards you and grant you peace. To lift up his face towards you means to pay attention to your needs and to grant you peace, so that you don't have to worry about anything in terms of lack and in terms of violence. Peace is one of the greatest blessings you can have from the Creator. We know, you ever have those nights when you can't sleep? When you wake up in the morning, you wish it was night. When it's night, you wish it was morning. That's because you're stressed, you're worried. But when the Creator gives you that peace to be able to deal with your problems, don't mean you'll have problems, but you are able to deal with it in peace. And that's why we love Shabbat so much. Shabbat Shalom. Usually when it comes to Shabbat, we ain't thinking about stuff bad. You come in with your joy in your heart, at least that's what you should be doing, and leave your burdens behind. That's what Shabbat is about. Because I guarantee you that problems will be waiting for you at sundown. They'll be waiting for you. So give it a rest. Come back rejuvenated to deal with your problems. And then it talked about, and we got to the 7th chapter, that after Moses had finished erecting the tabernacle and anointing it and sanctified it, the princes brought their offerings. And God said, take it from them that they may do and the service of the tent of meeting and give it to the Levites. So all the offerings that came. And they did that for 12 days because there were 12 tribes, right? So 12 consecutive days, they were bringing all kinds of gold and oxen, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I don't have the list. I didn't make the list because I figured we ain't got all of that, and you read it, right? But everybody bought the same thing. And why was that? Why couldn't this tribe try to outdo that tribe? It wasn't a competition. It was to show that everybody was equal in the eyes of the Creator, right? Everybody was equally important. So whatever contribution people made, it all went for the same purpose. So, and then the princes brought their offerings, and they were dedicated to the altar. And then in the 84th verse, it says, this was the dedication offering of the altar in the day when it was anointed. So the offerings were very significant. It also showed that it's a collaborative effort. And that's what I talked about earlier, is that, you have that structure. Everybody came at their own time. So it means everybody knew what the order was. This is your turn, that's your turn. Again, you work in harmony. And so when Moses went into the tent, after they did all of that, and you were in the tent of meeting, that he might speak with them, then he heard the voice speaking unto him from above the ark cover between the cherubim. You want to hear what it says? All right. That's the portion that Tamar read. No, that's what it says. It says, this was a dedication offering of the altar after it was anointed. And when Moses went into the tent of meeting, that he might speak with them, then he heard the voice speaking unto him from above the ark cover that was upon the ark of the testimony between the two cherubim, and he spoke unto him. And you want to know what he said, right? That was between them. That's the end of the sidra. Boy, that's next week. That was the end of the sidra. Yeah, you have to come back. But the thing is, right? When we talked about yesterday was the day of the giving of the Torah. So when God called us to Mount Sinai and he gave what's known as the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments, right? That wasn't the end of it. That was like, okay, you say that's the other. That was the giving of the Torah, so it's known as the giver. But throughout the years, Moses was communing with the Creator. and he would talk to him and continue to give him. That's why we got 10, and we wound up with 613 commandments, right? Which was do's and don'ts. So it wasn't all given at that one time. So perhaps that's why there's really, the Torah doesn't say this is the day the Torah is given, because it really wasn't in one day. It happened throughout a period of time. But at Mount Sinai was, you would say, really the big impact, the first time. And this is the time when everybody heard the voice. Isn't that what he said? I'm coming to you in a dark,
It was
in a
actually
thick
important. So
cloud.
Moses reached out because they was afraid they had God. But it was a report. It was something tangible where you could see because it was written by the hand of God.
No, I'm
Wasn't
talking
Moses
before
there
that.
for
Before that.
the time you see it.
No, when Moses came down, he wound up breaking them. Because he was so mad at the people because they had went astray. They couldn't wait 40 days. And he broke it. So, and then he had to go back up. Well, I'm talking about what I talked about yesterday was when he said, I want everybody to be Jehovah's Witness, right? But I want you to hear it for yourself. Not that, because Moses has been coming back and telling them everything. And also, they did see the Creator's work. But still, God says, I want you to hear my voice. You're not going to see me. You're going to see me through my works. You're going to see the works in my hand. But as far as you see me, and even Moses wasn't allowed to see the Creator. Yes, you said he saw him face to face. As far as I'm concerned, that was metaphor. It wasn't literal. Because the Creator has no shape, no form. He can be everything. It said so. Even
Moses said wanted to see him, but the Creator said you will see my backside.
yeah, but I have to go back and find it. They even said when he said face to face. Even what's his name? One of the right. Even Jacob, I think they said he saw God face to face. But it's not true. I mean, that was a different name. It wasn't. It was another name of God. But in the translation, it says he saw it face to face. So it could be misleading. And people will tell you, yeah, God has, but it says his hand. So when he says by the hand of Moses, did Moses actually put his hand and do things? No, but it's figuratively speaking. So most of the stuff in here is figurative. There are things that are tangible. Huh? Well, that's possible. That's a physical thing. But I'm talking about when they say that even in this week, they talk about the sons of Aaron, whoever was doing the charge of the cup, would be under the hand of Itamar. They weren't literally under his hand. That means, under his authority, under his leadership. He'd be in charge. That's what that means. So a lot of things people take just too literally. We need to understand what is meant from what is being said. Right? Because you can't just go by the word. Talking to somebody yesterday, and they said something, I interpreted it and said, stop lying, you're twisting my words. I didn't say that. No, I'm interpreting what you say. That's what you mean. Right? No. When somebody says something, are you just hearing the words? Don't you process what they're saying? Well, all right, maybe my mind thinks different. That's how you're supposed to do. You're not supposed. Okay, you say something, I gotta take you literally. Like me. So anyway,
A couple of comments, guys.
yes.
Looking at the tribe and the presentation of the tribe, it came to my attention that the first tribe that gave me this was the tribe of Judah. The seventh tribe that gave me this was Ephraim from the tribe of Joseph. Which should be significant.
Okay, what do you get out of that?
Because you look at the when we went into Exodus, and it was a confrontation between Yehuda and Joseph. Okay, and at the end, it was Yehuda who pleaded with Joseph not to keep Benjamin. Okay, to me that was the first set of it. And then as you read through the blessings that Yaakov gave his sons, okay, he gave Yehuda one set of blessings and Joseph another set. And for me, I just transliterated it and said, wow, that was the first tribe, Yehuda, and the seventh tribe was the seventh day, Joseph. That's all.
Well, there are a lot of patterns. There's a lot of patterns in the. I mean, there's a lot of patterns that. Did you study Torah? I mean, it's so you could find so many.
I just thought I wanted the second point is that
You're Joseph. That's why it speaks to you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's Torah. That is a good point. I know, but maybe that is it's secretly.
Right.
The Spirit speaks to me about
Right.
it. The other thing is that what you said about each one giving an equal gift. Okay, to me that was significant in terms of things I was trying to do, in terms of saying that each one give because the house of the Creator has to be maintained.
Agreed.
And the Torah just said in the Stikra, all the tribes gave equal amounts, but they gave.
Agreed. Good point.
But the point I want to make, they were criticized for giving less in a lot of the commentaries.
Well, you're talking about
I'm talking about
when the building of the Mishkan,
right.
when he first said, those have a willing heart, right? So that's two different instances. This one was after the Mishkan was built, it was inaugurated, everybody came in line. Everybody was in alignment. And these were all from the princes. But you're talking about initially, the princes waited until all the people gave. And after the end, they brought out their offering. And then, to me, I don't see an issue with that because they, let's see what you need. Whatever was lacking, we was going to make up for it. But the criticism is, you shouldn't wait. Don't wait for other people what to do. Just start giving stuff. And matter of fact, it got to the point where people bought too much. They had to say, stop. It's too much. All right. Okay, no problem. So I think we covered everything, unless Zippy has any questions. Zippy say no. I'm done. Let's go eat. But I'm with you. Zippy. So let's collect the tithes and offerings, and then Kava, did you have any words of wisdom for us this week? You're done? Okay.
I finished up the ethics of the Father.
Well, ethics of the Fathers is usually done at that time, but you can always bring us some wisdom. You don't have to wait for next year. Bring something for us.
And we sing what a mighty God we serve.
Please do.
Yeah, let's sing it. Oh, yeah.
And then, all right, who's going to lead this?
I'll read it.
All right.
What a mighty God we serve. Hallelujah, what a mighty God we serve. The angels bow before him, and in earth adore him. What a mighty God we serve. Come on,
Yes, we are. Yep. Tomorrow, did you want to do the Adona love or? Okay. Yes.
You doing anything today? You got a song?
So, you have a device? Ouais. The device.
Master of the universe who reigned before any form was created. At the time when he was brought, at the time when his will brought all into being, then as king was his name proclaimed. After all has ceased to be, he, the awesome one, will reign alone. It is he who was, he who is, and he who shall remain in splendor. He is one, there is no second to compare to him, to declare as his equal, without beginning, without conclusion. His is the power and the dominion. He is my God, my living Redeemer, rock of my pain in time of distress. He is my banner, a refuge for me, the portion in my cup on the day I fall. Into his hand I entrust my spirit. When I go to sleep, I shall awaken. When my spirit shall my body remain. Hashem is with me, I shall not fear. This is found in your Siddur on page 224, 25. Olam Hashem Allah Eterem Bo Yisinibra Et Nasso Lekezako
Good to have you back in the house. Also, I did want to forget to make this announcement. I know some people were expecting that this would be the last day, but good news. Creator has made it possible that we can extend it a little bit more. So we plan. I say we, I mean we, not me. We plan on being here next week, God's willing, and make it happen. So we plan on having a few more Shabbats. There will be a couple of Shabbats where there will be no services, but we should have several more until the building's sold. And so last year, as you know, we were supposed to close like immediately on, right? We were supposed to close immediately last year, but then the Creator gave us an extension. We made a year. Shavuot to Shavuot, we made a year. Now we might get a few more months out of it, and we thank God. As long as it's possible, the Creator, it's in His hand. That's all I can say. And I thank God to be able to be a part of this. And of course, it's us. Because you can't do Torah by yourself, right? You can't do service by yourself. Huh? Well, yeah, but then you're doing your own thing. But if you look at everything about this, it's about people. It's about a family. It's about a community and a nation. So you can't, no man is an island by himself. So we can't do it alone. It's better. Right. If you want to do it alone, you can be a monk, go in the mountains, and meditate. Right? So anyway, please stand. And we have a kiddush today, I understand. Right? Okay. And we make our Mishnah out for those who made an offering today. Mishabera Gabutenu. He who blessed our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may bless this entire holy congregation, along with all the holy congregations, them, their wives, sons, and daughters, and all that is theirs, and those who dedicate synagogues for prayer, and those who are them to pray, and those who give plans for illumination, and wine for Kiddush and Abdallah, bread for guests, and charity for the poor, and all who are involved faithfully in the needs of the community. May the Holy One bless his even every word, and remove from them every affliction, heal their entire body, and forgive their every iniquity, and send blessing and success to all their handiwork, along with all Israel, their brethren, and let us say, Amen. This is the blessing we're talking about. Even God, that rich May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance towards you everything. Praying that you Shabbat Shalom. Have a good week.
Shavuot Tov.
Shavuot Tov. All right. Good to see you guys.
On top of
At the time you